Hello students, my name is Garomad Abba. This is physics tutorial program. In the first lesson, we are going to see the importance of physics to the society. So the first lesson of this will address the following objectives. Okay, in the first case, we have to define what physics is, because we have to start our lesson by knowing or understanding what physics is. The second one, we have to list some of the technological products or electronic devices which operate or which use the principles of physics. Lastly, we need to be motivated towards the physics lesson. So we also at the end of this lesson try to be motivated towards learning physics. Then, having these objectives in mind, let's start from the definition of physics. As we know, in ancient Greeks, we have the symbols, different types of symbols. We have gamma, we have beta, eta, and so on. These are, as you know, are the Greek letters. Then, if we combine these letters together, the word phases is a philosophical term, or it is the theological term, or it is the scientific term. It is the word of the ancient Greek. Now, it is assumed that, or it is believed that, the word physics comes from the Greek word physis, which means in Latin nature. When we see the word physis in the Latin translation, it is physical, which means the study of nature. So, physics is the study of nature. Now, if we look at the first or the very beginning thought of the ancient Greeks, they have been thinking of about physics. Now, what is physics again? As we remember from our previous discussions, physics is one of the most fundamental part of science. In the ancient cases, it is physics which is called natural science or which is called philosophy. Therefore, physics is not only science, but one of the most fundamental part of science, which deals with the mechanisms how the universe interacts with its constituents, how the universe behaves the way we see now. Again, if we look at the universe in which we are living or existing, what are there inside the universe? What constituents are making this universe? And how the properties of these constituents are existing? What type of properties those constituents in the universe undergo? All these questions will be answered by the science physics. So, we can also say physics deals with the structure of matter and how the fundamental constituents or parts of the universe are interacting with each other. Again, because we are living in the universe, and it is physics which studies about how the universe behaves, so one or everybody who wants to know about the universe, its constituents, how the constituents of the universe act or interact, should study physics. Now, what are the key concepts here? From the definition point of view, we have to understand that physics comes from the Greek word phases, which means nature. No one escapes from nature. We are inside nature. So physics is a branch of natural science which tries to describe the basic mechanisms that make our universe behave the way it is observed. So primarily the concern of physics is the study of matter and energy and their interactions. Now let's come again. Why do we learn physics? Students, do you have a reason? Do you have an objective why you are going to learn physics or why you are learning physics? Can you list some of the important points why we learn physics? Okay, students, take a minute and discuss why we learn physics. Okay, as we have said, physics plays an important role in improving our everyday life. The applications of physics are almost found everywhere. If we look around us, for example, I am under the camera. If I am looking around where I am, there are lots of devices which are using the technological products which operate on the principles and the laws of physics. So physics is everywhere in our life, and it is everywhere in our universe. When I say it's everywhere, I mean the application and the importance of physics is everywhere. If we look at matter, or if we consider the subject chemistry, it studies about the composition of matter, about the properties of atoms and so on. But in physics, if we look at the atomic physics, it is the detail about the atom. So physics is also important in chemistry. Physics is also important in biology, in engineering, in ICT, and so on. So physics is one of the bases for the other sciences also. Okay, if we look at the different technology and the different developments, advanced developments, physics is contributing a lot at the individual level and at a country level also, and in the world too. In general, physics is very important for all of us. For example, let us start from what we know. If we look at the historical heritage in our country, for example, if you look at the Harar Jagol or the Fasilides Castle and the obelisk of Aksum and the rock heaven churches of Lalibela, all the principles by which these heritages are built are based upon the basics and the principles in physics. The leaders of the contemporary may not have basic knowledge about physics in the detailed form of what we are saying today, but knowingly or unknowingly, they have used the concept of physics and they built those very golden heritages of our country. So physics is very important for the human society. Now again, let's look at the computers. If you look at the internal parts of the computer and the motherboard, the integrated circuit are there. They are made up of different electronic devices such as transistors. Transistors are made by using the knowledge of physics. These transistors make the world to grow faster because it is contributing to the technology and to the development in ICTs. Think of, if there is no computer today, do you think that the world will be in the stage that we are observing today? With no question, it is impossible. So the inventions and the manufacturings of transistors simplified the life today by making the computers. Transistors can be made in very small size, and they can be put in a small area in the nanoscale level. Then making a small size transistors can help us to put them in a small area, but it can be made the power increase larger. So these are one of the basic knowledge that we obtain from physics to have or to create the powerful computers. Again, advances in physics often or always enable us to use the new technologies. Students, you know physics has many branches. Okay, if you consider electromagnetism, solid state physics, and others or other branches of physics, you know we obtain the television. How the television operates? What are there inside the television? There are cathode ray tubes, which we learn a lot about this in electronics. If we look at the computers, there is the solid state physics. Even if you go to your home, your kitchen and so on, there are home appliances and different devices that we use for our daily purposes. Okay, in all these cases, there is physics. So remember, our topic is the importance of physics to the human society. So from the different branches of physics, we can have different new technologies which we use for our daily life. If you look at electric generator, we have electromagnetism, which deals about this topic. Now again, there is thermodynamics, which is one of the branches of physics. Then, if you consider the steam engine that is obtained by the knowledge, by the principle which we learn in thermodynamics, the refrigerator, which operates in the reverse process of the steam or the heat engine, is also dealt by the second law of thermodynamics. Or if you look at industrialization related to heat and energy and a steam engine, still we are within the umbrella of physics. Then when we go to the engineering parts and mechanics, we have different applications. The advancement or the development in mechanics needs advanced mathematics, which help us to develop what we call calculus, which was done by Sir Isaac Newton, who we know him very well. Physics enable us understand the working principles of cars. Cars need engines, and if we wanted to know detail about the engine, we have to have the basic knowledge in physics. How the airplanes fly on the air, how the airplane overcome the gravity and rise up, and then how it flies in the sky. Then all this are answered by the basic knowledge which we know in physics. If you look at the spacecraft and the radios, we have electromagnetic waves which can be dealt by physics. Then physics is very important in every aspect of our life. Now, let's again look at some of the details that we come across in our everyday activity. For example, students, you have the schedule, you use your time accordingly and efficiently. We believe that. Then in the morning, if you want to get up early, you are expected to set up your alarm clock. You see how the alarm clock operates. What is the knowledge that we need there? Students, if you look, you schedule and you get up early, here what we want is sound. Something that you want from your alarm clock is sound. But what are the properties of sound waves? Then how it will be propagating through different media? All these are answered by sound waves, which is studied in detail in quantum mechanics, which is one of the largest category of physics. So we need physics to get up even early in the morning at the scheduled time. Another, then you get up from your sleep by scheduling your time on the alarm clock. Before going to school, you have to get ready and you have to put on or you have to wear your uniforms. Students, you deserve to have ironed uniforms. Then to have this, you need the steam iron or electric iron, or even if you are using it locally, you need the iron which uses the charcoal as a source of heat. Then all this case, what is heat? Heat is the form of energy in transit. Heat is transferred from one body to another body because of the difference in temperature. So the point of the issues about heat is discussed by the knowledge of physics, or it is one part of physics, heat and the thermodynamics. Okay, let's go another again. Now we get up from the sleep, then we wear our uniforms, then we have to go or walk to the school to attend our lesson. You see, physics is with us in every of our steps. When we are walking to our schools or to every place that we planned to go, we are walking. How do we walk? There is friction between our shoes and the ground or the earth. And what is the meaning of friction? How can we describe friction? It is physics which describes the frictional force. What are the advantages of frictional force? What are the disadvantages of frictional force? So, how important is friction for all of us? This is answered by the concepts in physics. So physics is very important in our day-to-day activity. Another issue is the ballpoint pen. Okay, now as a student, we need a pen, and we are using our pen to write on our exercise books. But how the pen is writing on the paper? If you make your pen turn upward like this, and if you want to try to write on the paper, it will not write longer time. It will stop writing, because when you turn it upside down, there are inks inside, they are going down. But when you turn it back in the appropriate side, it will write, because it is fabricated based upon the principle of gravity. So gravity is dealt a lot in the science which we call physics. So pen is, as a student, as a teacher, it is the tool for all of us. Even if you are officials, you need pen to write, to decide, to think, to plan. But all this depends, or the pen is writing on the paper based upon the principle of gravity. So in every activity there is what we call physics. Now look at the car seat belts. Physics is again inside there. We know, students, you remember from your previous courses about inertia. You remember about the Newton's laws of motion. We will see this in the other lesson or tutorial program, but let me shortly define. Inertia is the ability of the body to resist the state of rest or motion of an object. Then, based upon this concept in physics, then the concerned scholars set or build the car seat belts inside. When the car is moving and when the seat belt is on, if suddenly the car stops or comes to rest, our body, because of inertia, will try to move forward. Then, if there is a seat belt there, it will block us not going forward and it will save us. But if you are not using your car seat belt, as you can see from the figure, you see the car is in motion, and suddenly if the car comes to rest, then your body, because of inertia, tends to go forward again with the same uniform velocity. During this, there is the collision, and the driver is colliding with the mirror of or the wall of the car, and accident will be caused. So if we know the application and the advantage of having the seat belt, which we learn in detail in physics, we will be saved. So physics is very important for the human society. Okay, another. There is the camera, or there is a lens. How they operate? What concepts are there inside camera? You see, the lenses use the camera and they operate by the principles of physics, and optics is one of the major which deals about light and lenses and related to that. How is the image formed on lenses, on mirrors, and so on? At what distance from the mirror or from the lens the image is formed? What is the nature of the image that is formed on the lens, on the camera, and so on? All these are answered by using the concept in optics, which is one of the main categories in physics. So physics is very important for all of us. Further again, students, you know cell phones or mobile phones. Mobile phones are very important whether we are living in urban area or in rural areas. Everybody in our country or in the world are using mobile phones. But how mobile phones are made? What components are there in mobile phones? You see, if you look at, it works on the principle of electricity and electromagnetic spectrum. What is electricity? How do we study electromagnetic waves? What are electromagnetic spectrum? All these are approached by the basic concept of the knowledge in physics. So physics is everywhere. Physics is very important in our daily life. Another, batteries. You know, electronic devices need batteries to store electric energy. For the first time, the word battery is coined by the scientist, the philosopher, the inventor, Benjamin Franklin. In cell phones, we need batteries. In cars, we are using the car batteries. In torches, in toys, and different apparatuses, we need batteries. Okay, now, these batteries work on the principle of capacitance. What is capacitance? The ability of the capacitor to store electric energy and electric charge. Okay, this is the topic which physics deals with. So, physics is important in the large radius of our life. Do we really need the knowledge of physics in healthcare, in hospitals? Exactly. You know, students, magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI, is there. MRI is a non-invasive. It is a medical imaging which produces the image which should be tested medically. What are the principles? If you look at the MRI, or magnetic resonance imaging, the person or the patient is placed on the bed and then into the box. If there is a problem or damaged area in the brain, then the magnetic imaging will be used to take the image of the damaged area so that medically it will be treated. But this magnetic resonance imaging, as you can see from the video, uses the strong magnetic fields. And our body, as we all know, about 60% water. And in the water, there is magnetic field. The magnetic field in the water and the magnetic field in the magnetic resonance imaging will be aligned, and then the images will be produced on the screen by the operators there. You see, there is the image produced will be taken on the screen, and this is how the physics helps for medical applications. Okay, let's again look at the CT scan. It is the computerized tomography. As you remember, CT scan uses X-ray images, especially if we want to have the image on the hardest parts of our body, such as bones, or even if we want the image from the blood vessels and other parts of our body, CT scan is used. The difference is, in the case of CT scan, X-rays are used, but in the case of MRI, we use the magnetic field which will not harm us, and the radio waves are produced there. So, if we want the detailed image of the affected area in our body, MRI is most of the time recommended. Okay, another is the ultrasound application, or the medical ultrasound. Okay, ultrasound, as the name indicates, uses sound waves, the high frequency sound waves. Then these sound waves, if you look at this, you may know this in the hospitals or higher clinics, it is emitting the wave, and at the same time it is receiving the wave in the form of sound, and this enables this device to produce the image of the internal body. If the rays or the waves are scattered, it is possible to make them focus together by using another new applications in ultrasound machine. Then in that way, the required images will be back from the body that we need. These are the combined frequency which are used to produce the high resolution image in our body. In that way, we can have the image of the affected area or where damaged, and then the medical doctors can treat accordingly based upon the information which is obtained by using the help of sound waves on the machine. So in every body or in every part of our body, we can have the ultrasound and we can find the image clearly. Okay, even if you look at this, it is possible to look at the unborn baby inside the uterus. So this is the application in physics. It uses sound waves to create an image which cannot be observed using the naked eye. Another medical application in physics is radiation surgery. What is laser? It will be studied in physics. It depends upon the principles of physics. Now the laser surgery is used to treat the skin conditions. If there are tattoos or birthmarks on our body, it can be easily removed by using laser surgery. Then the laser surgery makes bladeless cuts. It is cutting, it is treating. If you remember about the chemotherapy, medicines or drugs are carried to the cancerous cells or the tumor cells in our body by the help of nanoparticles, which can be fabricated by using the concept in physics, especially in solid state physics in the nanoscale level. So physics is very important for our life. Now, students, if you remove those all applications from the today's world, what do you think will happen? Where are we, you expect, if there is no physics? Really, it is very challenging and not appropriate and comfortable if physics is not there. We wrote here, in the absence of physics, it is impossible to think about the modern day. In our modern day, physics contributed a lot. Hence, physics touches our lives. It also touches the life of the future generation. So we need to learn physics. We have to be motivated to learn physics because whether we want it or not, we are using physics in our daily lives. Now let's summarize the key concepts that we have seen. Physics improves our quality of life by providing the medical applications. With no doubt and heartfully, we can say physics is used for medical applications because we know magnetic resonance imaging, which uses strong magnetic fields and radio waves to produce detailed images. We have ultrasound imaging, we have laser surgery, we have the CT scan, we have an X-ray also. All these are based upon the principles and the laws in physics. So physics is important in medical applications. We use physics in our everyday life activities. When we are walking, we are dealing with motion. Motion is studied by one of the branch of physics, mechanics, and under mechanics we have kinematics, which studies about the motion of bodies without referring to its causes. Then if we are playing, we are still in motion. If we are listening, we are concerned or we are referring to the issue of sound, which can be studied by the sound wave. If we are cutting or cooking, opening and closing, we are applying forces. So, students, physics is very important for all of us. I said it many times because it is helping us in every aspect. Okay, if you graduate with physics, with one of the specialization in physics, where can you join, students? There are many opportunities to join and to work on and to have as a career if you learn physics. For example, you can join any science institution, or you can join any engineering institution if you graduate by physics. Okay, we have also automotive and aerospace industry. If you graduate in physics in one of the areas of specializations in physics, you can have. You can join the medicine and the health care if you are doing on one of the apparatuses that we use in medical health cares. Okay, then again, you can be a researcher. You can develop researches, you can conduct, you can carry out different experiments if you specialize in physics. NASA, as you know, is a space science, is more concerned with the concepts and with the knowledge and with the laws in physics. We have energy institutions, and there is a computing and there is ICT, so physics is very large and it has many careers in our life if we specialize in one of them. We can use physics in military. If we look at the atomic physics, how atomic bombs are made or produced, the concept is inside the atomic physics. Telecommunications, if it is impossible to think about telecommunication without having the knowledge of electromagnetic waves. So physics has many applications. We need physics. So as you can see from the topic, it is the role of physics in human society. Physics is contributing a lot to the human society. We depend directly or indirectly on the applications of physics. Now let's summarize. What are the key concepts here? We are coming to the end of our lesson today. The rapid growth in science became possible mainly because of physics. You see, the daily life fields that use the laws of physics, as I said many times, in transportation vehicles, whether making or producing the engines, the body parts, and dealing with how the vehicles move, the type of force applied, and how we calculate the speed of the moving vehicles, all are in physics. If we go to the agriculture or irrigation, we have hydraulics, which can be studied in physics. In our home, we have home appliances and the devices which can be also made or fabricated by using the concept of physics, the knowledge of physics. The communication system and the measuring instruments. Okay, we know there are physical quantities, and physical quantities can be measured or quantified by using the instruments. So we need physics to produce, to fabricate the measuring instruments, medical equipment, as we have said a lot, and in weather forecasting, in meteorology, we need physics. In defensive systems, in security, in military, we need physics. In space travel, we need physics. So physics is everywhere in our life. Now, you see, students, assume this is physics, and then if you get physics, then you have science, you have ICT, you have education. You can join any. And if you want to deal about energy, about materials, and about the issue of the environment, there is physics there. Now, if we go to the governance, if we go to the trade, the e-trade, and the e-governance, the defense and the security issue, there is physics inside. Okay, in medicines, in drugs, in health cares, there is physics. In industry, in agriculture, there is physics. So physics is important, and the role of physics to the human society is really big in magnitude and in application. By this, we come to the end of our first tutorial lesson today. Thank you, students. Goodbye.